Shen Shifan is a beautiful and talented girl. She was quickly promoted to hotel lobby manager at a very young age. However, under the dual pressure of love and work, her insomnia has become more and more serious. She stays awake at night with her thoughts turning around. Her mother suggested that she find a Chinese medicine doctor for treatment. Shifan went to a traditional Chinese medicine building and was surprised to see only one doctor named Hisuya on the doctor introduction board without a photo. To save time, she directly registered for Dr. He, who did not need to wait in line. She saw a tall man coming out as soon as he arrived at the door. Even with a mask, he could still be seen as handsome. During the consultation, Shifan relied on her professionalism to unconsciously score Hisuya's voice, temperament and other aspects. Unfortunately, her clumsy flirting skills fail, and she can't get him to remove the mask. Shifan was at a loss and accidentally left behind the little frog she had folded with the registration form, which attracted Hisuya's attention. Just as Shifan took the prescription and agreed to go for a follow-up visit the next week, Hisuya suddenly chased after her. A handsome face came into her sight, which stunned her for a moment, and she couldn't hear clearly when the other party told her to pick up the medicine. On the way back, Shifan thought of Hisuya's instructions and recalled her boyfriend, Yan Heng, who had complained about her in every way and was always grumpy with her. On the other hand, Hisuya fell in love with Shifan, who was not dressed in makeup at first sight and naturally paid special attention to her traditional Chinese medicine. Shifan tossed and turned in bed thinking about unhappy things in love. The next day, when Shifan sent a voice message to her mother complaining that Chinese medicine was useless, suddenly, Hisuya appeared behind her and she left awkwardly. In Gunnan Ting Hotel, Shifan was busy with work. After receiving a message from her boyfriend, she hurriedly replied, but he did not respond immediately. She felt sad and disappointed about him. Shang Ya asked about the relationship between Shifan and Yan Heng. Although they didn't break up, they felt like strangers. Then Shifan bought a bunch of flowers and walked back. She unexpectedly saw Hisuya riding a skateboard outside the community. He told Shifan that she had a follow-up visit next week and made an appointment to see her again. Suya wanted to add her to WeChat, but before he could open his mouth, Shifan left. Shifan's sleep improved significantly, and she went to work in high spirits early in the morning. As the workday was about to end, she received a message from her boyfriend that he was waiting outside the hotel. Because Shifan did not answer the phone in time, Yan Heng was dissatisfied again and made groundless accusations about her work. Shifan felt wrong when she heard her boyfriend belittle her work. He even asked her to quit her job tomorrow because her work made him feel ashamed. The beautiful love they had on campus gradually changed. She couldn't believe how time had changed him so drastically. When she returned home and faced her parents, Shifan tactfully proposed the idea of breaking up, which shocked her parents. Then she sat downstairs alone with an ice cream in her arms. She took the initiative to send a message to Yan Heng, but he still did not reply. Every time she thought of him saying insult, Shifan felt heartbroken and could not help crying. Hisuya was skateboarding downstairs and saw Shifan at a glance, so he stopped and asked why she cried. When he learned Shifan had a boyfriend, he felt a little disappointed, but he quickly sorted out her emotions and advised her to learn to press the Danjiang acupoint to relieve depression. Suya reminded Shifan to hang an apple at the head of the bed if she couldn't sleep well because the fragrance of apples helps her fall asleep. Shifan returned to the room and sent a message to Yan Heng again, hoping to find an opportunity to talk well. Not long after, Shifan came for a health check. Hisuya found that her symptoms that should have been relieved had worsened, so he reminded her not to endure her emotions alone and should vent them out earlier. He prescribed some medicine for Shifan and gave her acupuncture. An ambiguous atmosphere gradually spread between the two. Because of the effect of acupuncture, Shifan fell asleep unconsciously. Hisuya hung a curtain for her and set the alarm. When she woke up, Hisuya prepared a Chinese medicine sachet instead of an apple to help her fall asleep. Shifan walked back happily. Feeling comfortable, she suddenly received a message from Yan Heng, who said that he had considered it for a long time and felt that they should break up. This reply was like a bolt from the blue, which caught Shifan off guard. She tried to call her boyfriend, but he refused again and again. However, even if he refused to break up, he did not delete her as a friend. Seeing Shi-fan's haggard appearance, Hisuya couldn't help but feel heartache. After a brief sadness, Shi-fan regained his spirits and devoted himself to work. The entire hotel was preparing for the reception of the Jiangzhou IT Summit. During the lunch break, Hisuya saw the news broadcast of the summit on TV. Shi-fan's working figure appeared on the screen, which made him see a different side of her and feel sorry for his busyness. She did not go for a follow-up visit on Saturday due to work. He texted to remind her about her health, but she didn't reply. Shi-fan checked in Yan Heng's father at the hotel. When she heard that his father had agreed to arrange a blind date for his son, she felt very uncomfortable. He took the initiative to call Shi-fan. He cleverly added her WeChat, asked for her address, and sent her new medicine and licorice, which he had dried. Just as he was joyful, she suddenly transferred the money, which directly extinguished the spark in his heart. After Yan Heng's father finished attending the summit, he asked Shi-fan to take him to the parking lot. Shi-fan still thought Yan Heng didn't see her because he was abroad, but when his father said he was home, she couldn't hold back her emotions. She was unsure whether to tell her parents, so she could only hide it for now. Hisuya took her to the herbal garden and sat on a bench to feel her pulse. He was concerned about her recent condition. She deliberately avoided the breakup and said she was busy with work. He wrote a new prescription based on Shi-fan's condition and reminded her to pay attention to her diet in the future. She readily agreed, took the prescription and was about to leave, but suddenly stopped and turned back to thank him for taking the time to come out. He smiled slightly and agreed to see each other next Saturday. In the evening, Hisuya went downstairs and saw Shi-fan taking medicine. The two went to a nearby convenience store to buy things. She saw the drinks Hisuya bought and instantly thought of her ex-boyfriend. She felt that although he was slightly different from the stereotype of Chinese medicine practitioners, he was a very Chinese medicine practitioner in detail. Hisuya's father, a well-known cardiac surgeon, came to Hangzhou for an exchange activity and took the initiative to call Hisuya, hoping to make an appointment, but was rejected. He thought of the past and his mother, and his resentment towards him as a father has never diminished. On the way back, it happened to rain heavily. He ran back and met Shi-fan, who was holding an umbrella. The two walked side by side. She bought blue tulips at the flower shop, and seeing Hisuya was in a bad mood, she gave the flowers to him on the pretext that the patient was thanking the doctor. Sure enough, his mood was back to normal. He forgot to wear a mask while at work and was seen by the aunt who was seeing the patient. She immediately took a video and sent it to the owner group, which attracted the attention of the owners of the community, including Shi-fan's parents. For a while, the Chinese medicine building was crowded with uncles and aunts, all of whom came to see Dr. He for their daughters. The hall had become a blind date corner. Similarly, the uncles and aunts rushed to register, which increased Hisuya's workload. Fortunately, he opened a back door for her and agreed to meet at the herbal garden. She learned he had not eaten lunch and gave him a sandwich. Hisuya finally realized how terrible it was to be urged to get married and go on blind dates, just like the pork in the market that anyone could pick and choose. Shi-fan was curious about how he had just experienced this kind of horror at the age of 31 and was also curious about his previous relationships. He euphemistically expressed that he had never met the right person. When he said this, his eyes unconsciously looked at Shi-fan. Then he gave her acupuncture, listened to her talk about the busy work, and then she slowly fell asleep. Considering that Hisuya was bothered by people, Shi-fan took an iron ring from his keychain and gave it to him, suggesting that he should wear it to pretend to be married. As expected, everyone thought Hisuya was married and immediately complained in the owner group. The number of grandpas and aunts who came to arrange blind dates for their daughters dropped sharply, and the effect was remarkable. Shi-fan had no time to get the medicine, so she asked Dr. He to help her. The originally agreed place happened to be where her parents were eating dumplings, so they had to cancel it temporarily. He stood outside the community waiting for her and handed her the medicine. She went to keep the iron ring she gave him. He lied that he had lost it. Shi-fan didn't doubt it at all. When she returned home, she looked radiant and different from before. Her parents looked at her surprised and finally concluded that she and Yan Heng had reconciled. Hisuya's father took the initiative to contact Hisuya to have a meal together but was rejected by Hisuya again. Grandpa advised him to let go of his worries and stop living in the past. However, Hisuya always hated his father for being too busy with work and ignoring the family, which led to his mother's critical illness and death. So he applied for traditional Chinese medicine in anger and gave up the Western medicine major that Hisuya's father chose for him. The gap between father and son has never been reduced. That night, Shifan's mother found that the photo of her daughter and Hisuya was posted in the owner group, and immediately took out her phone to question her daughter. For this reason, Shifan had to confess to her parents about her breakup with Yan Heng. She explained that she applied to study abroad. Her parents pointed out that she was not young anymore, and once she went abroad to study, she would face various realities in the workplace. Shifan was unable to convince her parents and felt exhausted physically and mentally. She hid in the community alone to seek peace and met Dr. He. He then took her to vent. But Shifan didn't expect that the so-called venting was to eat a spicy hot pot. She told Hisuya about her original intention of studying abroad and the entanglement caused by her parents' lack of support, which resonated with Hisuya. He talked about the disagreement between his parents. His mother wanted him to study Chinese medicine, while his father paved the way for him to study Western medicine. Hisuya witnessed the pain his mother suffered from chemotherapy and finally chose Chinese medicine and found a career he loved. He told Shifan that she now had only two choices: accept the stable life proposed by her parents or try it. After they returned home, Shifan solemnly expressed his idea of studying abroad to her parents. And this time, she applied to the top free schools in the country. If she failed, she would not have any complaints or regrets. At this moment, Hisuya was alone under the tree skateboarding to vent his emotions until Shifan hurried out and excitedly said that her parents supported her idea of studying abroad. To celebrate this good news, Hisuya drove to a place with her. The two came to the lake to look at the beautiful scenery and feel the tranquility, which can relax the body and mind. Shifan took the initiative to suggest watching the sunrise together, which touched Hisuya. They waited for the dawn together to welcome the beautiful morning light. Hisuya bought breakfast especially, and the two sat side by side, watching the sunrise in the distance, immersed in the beauty of nature. The first heavy rain in autumn hit. Shifan suddenly suffered from dysmenorrhea. The client was furious because he had lost his ring, so she had to brave the heavy rain to look for it in the garden, and finally found the ring. Although the problem was solved, her dysmenorrhea became more severe, and she sat in the lounge holding the sachet given to her by Hisuya in a daze. Although Shifan asked Shang Ya for painkillers, it was not practical, so she almost fainted at the gate of her community. Fortunately, Hisuya showed up in time and did moxibustion to relieve her dysmenorrhea. Shifan was afraid that she would dirty the bed in the clinic and did not dare to lie down. After Hisuya found out about the situation, he did not mind. For him, dysmenorrhea is a physiological phenomenon, and women should not have any embarrassment or shame. After Hisuya let Shifan lie down, he took a blanket to cover her legs and performed moxibustion. Her pain was gradually replaced by warmth. Looking at Hisuya, who was tenderly caring for her, Shifan could no longer hold back the grievance in her heart and cried. He gently gave tissues for her. Soon, Shifan fell into a deep sleep, and even in her dreams, tears still flowed from her eyes. Hisuya wiped her tears lovingly, mistakenly thinking she was sad because of her boyfriend, and could only suppress her inner emotions. When Shifan woke up, Hisuya lent her a white shirt. After returning home, she prepared to wash his white shirt. She smelled the smell on the shirt curiously and couldn't help but think of the other party. But she quickly stopped her wild thoughts. When her mother saw the strange man's shirt, she curiously asked about the source of the shirt. Shifan had to find an excuse to evade it. That night, she thought of Hisuya again and looked through his WeChat moments. She noticed that he had posted a photo of licorice soaked in water a few months ago. She subconsciously liked it but quickly cancelled it. Shifan liked several moments in succession to hide her embarrassment but was discovered and exposed by Hisuya, who kindly reminded her to go to bed early. Her colleagues read their chat records and concluded that Hisuya must be interested in Shifan, but she insisted they were just a doctor-patient relationship. Shifan ran into Hisuya at a snack stand near the community in the evening. She guessed that he had encountered something unhappy. She silently accompanied him forward. At this moment, a bicycle came over. Shifan subconsciously pulled Hisuya away, but he took the initiative to hug her in his arms. This made Shifan extremely surprised. That night, she was still thinking about what happened. She couldn't be sure what Hisuya meant to her. He also didn't fall asleep. Both of them tossed and turned. While working, her mother suddenly called and reminded her daughter to cancel this week's work and go home early. Shi-fan returned home full of doubts. She didn't expect her parents to arrange a blind date for her. The other party was said to be a boy introduced by her father college classmate. He was young, good-looking and a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. Although Shi-fan refused repeatedly, she could not bear her parents' urging and nagging, so she reluctantly agreed. The next day, Shi-fan came to check her health and returned the shirt she had washed to Dr. He. He apologized awkwardly and sincerely for the sudden hug last time. But Shi-fan didn't mind thinking that as friends, they should comfort each other. Then Shi-fan complained about her parents' troubles, urging her to get married. Hisuya mistakenly thought that Shi-fan had already discussed marriage with her boyfriend, and felt very disappointed. His grandpa asked about their progress. Hisuya said Shi-fan and her boyfriend were going to get married and had given up the idea of being sentimental. But he couldn't understand why she wanted to marry a man who was not very good to her. Grandpa could only blame it because emotions quickly affect people's judgment. After all, no matter how intelligent a person is, they can't avoid being confused by emotions. Hisuya helped his junior sister revise her thesis. Fang Kashin found a reason to invite him to dinner but was politely rejected. Li Jia took the initiative to find his brother and asked him to go on a blind date for him. Because of Hisuya's uncompromising attitude, Li Jia had to meet his blind date Shi-fan. They both made it clear that they did not intend to fall in love or get married. Once they made it clear, the conversation became exceptionally relaxed and pleasant. Shi-fan learned Li Jia was a Chinese medicine practitioner and mentioned his Chinese medicine friend. Li Jia also thought of his senior brother Hisuya. The two of them had an enjoyable conversation. When Li Jia returned to the lounge after the blind date, Hisuya was curious about his blind date after finishing the consultation. He unexpectedly learned that the blind date partner was Shi-fan, and he realized she had broken up with her boyfriend. Thinking of the last time Shi-fan complained about her parents urging her to get married, Hisuya was overjoyed, meaning she no longer had to worry about pursuing the other party. Shi-fan helped to watch the staff decorate the hotel room and took a few unnecessary flowers. Yi Shen suddenly had an idea and took one to give to Shang Ya. Although she said she disliked it, she was a little happy. In the evening, Hisuya met Shi-fan who was going home from get-off work while skateboarding. Shi-fan was curious about why he was so happy today. The hotel is about to welcome tourists from the neighboring province. These tourists are all wealthy and free older adults. Therefore, the leader emphasized the need to have a series of physical therapy and healthcare services to meet the needs of the tourists. Shi-fan immediately thought of the suggestions related to Chinese medicine and healthcare and believed that the elements of medicine should be incorporated into both food and accommodation. The leader appreciated Shi-fan's idea very much and asked everyone to make a plan for it. Shi-fan immediately contacted Hisuya and invited him to dinner to discuss something in the evening. Hisuya invited her to her home to taste the medicinal food in exchange for work. It was her first time at his home, so she was inevitably a little nervous. Hisuya asked Shi-fan to sit for a while he was busy in the kitchen. She couldn't help but come forward to watch. Shi-fan mentioned that the hotel would do some health projects and hoped he could agree to be the hotel's consultant. He readily agreed. After dinner, he sent Shi-fan home. She felt shy about asking him to cook this time, so he decided to treat her to dinner next time. After returning home, Shi-fan logged into the website to search and found that Hisuya was not only a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine but also had a brilliant resume. The leader was delighted with everyone's plan and urged Shi-fan to draft and sign a contract with Hisuya immediately. When a female colleague saw his information, she instantly became interested and hoped that Shi-fan could introduce him to her. However, when she saw Shang Ya's gesture, she suddenly realized and quickly changed the subject. At noon, Hisuya introduced Shi-fan to various plants in the botanical garden. He secretly picked a few Schisandra chinensis for Shi-fan to taste. She took a bite half believingly, but the sour, bitter, salty, spicy taste made her feel cheated. They sat on a bench and looked at the scenery. His eyes always fell on her unconsciously, affectionately, and the atmosphere was sweet and ambiguous. He suddenly received a call from the emergency room and hurried back to the ward. forgetting to take the consultant contract. Shi Fan saw this and hurriedly chased after him. When she prepared to give him the contract, a boy he was treating suddenly called him Papa, which shocked her. Shi Fan misunderstood that he had a son. She sent a message to inform Hisuya to come to the nurse's desk on the first floor to get the contract. She didn't mention the single father thing and hurriedly left with an excuse. Doctor, he didn't notice her abnormality and was even teased by the nurses. Shi Fan told Shang Ya that Hisuya was having a child. They all thought that he deliberately concealed her marriage and had a bad character, so they persuaded Shi Fan to give up as soon as possible. They went to the bar to drink that night, complaining about their troubles. When drunk, Yi Shen came to pick them up in person, but Shang Ya pointed at him and called him trash. On the other hand, Shi Fan was half drunk and half awake. She staggered back to the community downstairs and met Hisuya, who was out skateboarding. At this moment, Shen Shi Fan was a little unconscious, and he also blamed him. Hisuya was confused by her scolding, and was almost regarded as a bad guy by her parents. He couldn't help but feel helpless. The following day, she woke up from a hangover and saw a message from Dr. He. She suddenly thought of her drunken behavior last night. She was embarrassed and regretful. During the lunch break, Hisuya didn't receive any messages, so he sent another message to Shi Fan. But the response he got was polite and distant. Not only that, but she also seemed to deliberately avoid Hisuya, which finally made him notice something was wrong. As soon as they met, Shi Fan gave the three people a gift, and she gave Dr. He a Transformers toy. He was puzzled. At the dinner, Yi Shen to liven up the atmosphere. Hisuya couldn't understand why the hotel gave him a children's toy. Yi Shen quickly explained that it was for his son. Everyone was shocked when this was said. Shi Fan hurriedly talked about what had happened that day. The two hastily explained that Zhao Zi was just a patient of Dr. He, and because he grew up in a single-parent family, he was particularly attached to him. Shi Fan was so embarrassed that she wanted to hide on the ground. However, because of this misunderstanding, she and Dr. He were secretly happy in their hearts, and they ultimately recognized each other and their feelings. The group drove to the herbal garden, and Dr. He took them to visit the Chinese medicinal plants in the herbal garden. The beautiful environment and the resolved misunderstandings made Shi Fan particularly happy. They also did not forget to take a souvenir photo of the day. Shang Ya took the initiative to flirt and chat with Li Jia, which attracted Yi Shen's attention. Shi Fan saw that Yi Shen's face was not very good, so she found a reason to send Li Jia away. As the entire hotel was on high alert, the middle-aged and elderly health tour group arrived at Gunan Hua Ting. The staff introduced the prepared medicinal meals and sachets in the rooms to the guests. Although the needs of older people were numerous and complex, and the entire hotel was confused, the Chinese medicine health meals and services were unanimously praised. Yi Shen revealed that he might resign next year to inherit his parents' small company. Shi Fan knew that Yi Shen and Shang Ya had feelings for each other, but they never expressed their feelings to each other. He asked Shi Fan if there was no possibility for him and Shang Ya if they had not been together for so long. Shi Fan didn't know how to respond. Afterwards, Hisuya told Shi Fan about giving the toy to Zhao Zi, and invited her to his home for dinner, saying that Zhao Zi wanted to thank her. After getting off work, she took the initiative to come to Hisuya's house. Shi Fan suddenly noticed the iron ring on Hisuya's keychain, which looked like the one she had given him last time. But he lied that she lost it. Just as he wanted to explain, Shi Fan suddenly changed the subject and asked about the keel of his keychain. He breathed a sigh of relief and quickly explained to her that it was a raw keel from the laboratory. She nodded as if she understood. During the meal, Shi Fan forwarded the photo to him, but he was not satisfied with the picture, thinking that he looked too serious, which did not match his happy mood that day. Afterward, Shi Fan returned home and hurriedly suppressed her thumping heartbeat. She had a vague answer in her heart, but she was afraid she was just being sentimental. However, Shi Fan's love for Hisuya became increasingly apparent. Even in the hotel lounge, she couldn't help but hold the sachet and smell it repeatedly. After a busy day at work, Shi Fan got home. She was exhausted and couldn't wait to lie down in bed. As a result, she got up with a severely stiff neck the next day. In desperation, Shi Fan went to the clinic to find Dr. He. After his treatment, she cried and howled, and her stiff neck was significantly improved. Shi Fan felt that Dr. He was too close to her, and she felt a little embarrassed. After pushing and taking, she left quickly. When she went home to prepare materials for studying abroad, she wanted to enrich the cultural heritage of the case. So she went to Dr. He to ask for Chinese medicine knowledge related to aromatherapy and sachets. With his help, Shi Fan revised her application materials, and a warm atmosphere flowed between the two. After Dr. He checked them for her, she sent them to the study abroad agency. At this time, the agent suddenly called Shi Fan, and she hurried to the balcony to talk. When she hung up the phone and returned to the living room, she found Isuya sleeping on the sofa. She wanted to help him remove her glasses, but his book fell behind the couch, accidentally causing Shi Fan to fall on him. Just when she wanted to get close to kiss him, the doorbell rang, ruining the beautiful atmosphere. When Shi Fan took the initiative to open the door, Isuya immediately opened his eyes, feeling very annoyed. Seeing this, Shi Fan had to find an excuse to leave first. Li Jia guessed that there must be a story between him and Shi Fan. Isuya did not comment and closed the door. Shi Fan felt her face burning, and she was more confident that she liked Isuya. Isuya took the initiative to send a message to Shi Fan, inviting her to a snack stand at the entrance of the community park to taste desserts and ask about her date of study abroad. Shi Fan felt that he was not in a good mood. When she considered going to Switzerland in February, the long distance between the two countries and the significant time difference made her uncomfortable. She considered whether to keep this relationship in her heart. The next day, Isuya took Li Jia and others to his grandfather's house to listen to Yu Liren's project evaluation. As soon as it was over, Li Jia deliberately gossiped about Isuya and Shi Fan in public, and he had to admit that he was still pursuing her. Soon, everyone in the hospital and school knew that Dr. He had a crush on someone. They teased him a lot, and he could only accept it happily. Shi Fan's parents introduced new people to their daughter during breakfast with various excuses. Shi Fan felt that there was no need for blind dates. After all, the other party was aiming for marriage, and she was about to go abroad to study, so she absolutely could not delay the other party. Her mother insisted letting her daughter meet him and immediately arranged the time and place. Shi Fan had no choice but to go to deal with it. However, when the blind date came, the guy didn't show up. The medical school classmates organized a dinner party, and Isuya participated. So when Li Jia saw Shi Fan, he found a reason to invite Shi Fan to the doctor's party. Only Fang Kexin looked unhappy. At the dinner table, everyone couldn't help but gossip about how Dr. He and Shi Fan met. Shi Fan felt embarrassed. After 3 rounds of drinking, she went to the bathroom to calm down for a while Isuya waited outside and asked her about being stood up tonight. Shi Fan truthfully admitted that she had a blind date. He was a little disappointed, but she quickly smiled, said it was good, and invited him to go home together in the evening. After the party, Shi Fan was drunk, and Isuya carried her back to walk back. Unexpectedly, she suddenly jumped down, expressed gratitude for liking her, and kissed him. With her attitude, Isuya couldn't help herself and hugged and kissed her. That night, he sent Shi Fan home. Seeing how handsome he was, her parents were overjoyed and praised him highly. Isuya couldn't hide her smile after hearing that. The next day, Shi Fan woke up and thought about what happened last night. She felt shy and embarrassed. She didn't dare to reply to Isuya's message. He wrote a new prescription and sent it to Shi Fan. She hesitated and asked him if he liked her. Isuya took the initiative to hold her hand and confessed that he wanted her so much. He thought that they would break through this window paper and be in a relationship from now on. Unexpectedly, Shi Fan suddenly rejected Isuya, saying that she would study abroad soon and did not want to have a long-distance relationship. Isuya was very puzzled. She took the initiative to kiss her last night. So why was she so determined today? He gave her hangover medicine, reminded her to take care of her health, and then left. Shi Fan returned home with the medicine and was questioned by her parents about her progress with Isuya. However, when they learned their daughter had rejected him, they were shocked and felt sorry for it. That night, Shi Fan went downstairs to sit and met Isuya, who had just returned from overtime. She found an excuse to go back upstairs, unwilling to talk anymore. Shang Ya accompanies Shi Fan in the bar, persuading her not to be trapped in the mindset of not falling in love with studying abroad. It is not easy to meet someone good to you. If you have to push it back and forth, you will miss and regret it. Later, Shang Ya sent a message to Li Jia, preparing to take Shi Fan to play with them. But she wanted to meet Hisuya. When they arrived at Hisuya's house, Shi Fan felt uncomfortable. During the meal, Shi Fan accidentally spilled soup and quickly took out a tissue to wipe it away. Hisuya suggested that she use a stain remover pen. Fang Kashin was utterly impatient. She hoped that if Shi Fan didn't like Hisuya, she would make her attitude clear instead of jumping back and forth in this state of rejection and contact not to bring Hisuya secondary pain. After hearing what Kashin said, Shi Fan left Hisuya's house. She cried silently in the snow, not knowing whether her actions were right or wrong. Hisuya told Kashin that she would always be his student. Nothing more. He did not forget to praise her for being talented and intelligent. Then he decided that she did not need to study with him from tomorrow. Shang Ya had to reveal to Hisuya that Shi Fan had an emotional experience, so she feared being hurt again. He finally understood the pain in her heart. As the spring festival approached, Hisuya returned to his hometown and brought gifts to her relatives and friends. However, his father called a mother and son over after talking to Hisuya for a few words. The woman was Nurse Wang from Mr. Yi's hospital, divorced and with a son. Hisuya learned that they lived in his house, so he didn't say anything and returned to his room to rest. Because Hisuya and his father didn't have a good relationship, he wasn't very familiar with his father's relatives, so he could only sit at a table alone, which was very awkward. Seeing Mr. He considerately helping Nurse Wang serve dishes and tea, he suddenly thought of her mother. When his mother accidentally spilled the soup, she was despised and complained by relatives, and Mr. He, as her husband, just sat aside and watched indifferently. On New Year's Eve, Shi Fan's parents prepared a table of delicious food and went to their friends to wish them a happy new year. Shi Fan unexpectedly received a New Year's blessing from Yan Heng and immediately blocked him. Zhao Zi sent a message to Hisuya, who forwarded the blessing to Shi Fan on his behalf. However, she was busy watching TV with her parents and didn't notice the messages on her phone. Grandpa and Hisuya had a video chat and wished each other a happy new year. Hisuya's nose suddenly soured when he heard that his grandpa remembered his birthday, a date that even his father had forgotten. Shi Fan finally saw Hisuya's message and composed a formal greeting for the new year. At this time, Hisuya took the initiative to call, and Shi Fan could hear some loneliness in his tone. They sent each other blessings before hanging up the phone but reluctantly ended the call. Shi Fan suddenly remembered that today was Hisuya's birthday, so she made a simple birthday cake with Swiss rolls, put candles on it, and sang the birthday song. Shi Fan asked Hisuya to make a wish and blow at the screen, and she blew out the candles on his behalf and spent a birthday with him. They welcomed the final countdown while listening to the sound of firecrackers outside the window. The following day, Hisuya packed up her medical bag and didn't even have breakfast, planning to ride her bicycle to provide free medical treatment to older people. He went door to door to feel the pulse and do acupuncture for older people, which improved their symptoms and won unanimous thanks from everyone. Passing by a family, Hisuya saw red beans, so he bought a bag and went home to wash and dry them. When he returned to work, he made several jars and prepared to bring them to Shi Fan. On the third day, Hisuya packed up and prepared to return to Hangzhou. As soon as he went downstairs, he saw the little boy Wang Chong and could feel his restraint and helplessness. Wang Chong was sensible and well-behaved, which softened Hisuya's heart. He took the initiative to give him lucky money. He also took the initiative to say goodbye to his son and watched him leave in the car. After returning to Hangzhou, Hisuya immediately sent a message to Shi Fan, giving her 2 jars of red beans and several recipes for a medicinal diet, because red beans have the effect of removing blood stasis and eliminating sores. A red bean medicinal diet can also help regulate mood. Hisuya had the same painful breakup experience so that he could empathize with Shi Fan, and his experience was that if you lose the ability to fall in love with others, you must first love yourself. Shi Fan received an acceptance letter from a Swiss university and was delighted to find that she could choose between February and October. After weighing the pros and cons, she decided to enroll in October. Shang Ya and Yi Shen saw her true intentions, saving more living expenses, and most importantly, spending more time with Hisuya. Shi Fan hesitated whether to tell him about the date change. Hisuya noticed it and took the initiative to ask about her study abroad. When he learned she was leaving in October, he was angry that she had concealed the truth. He said there was nothing wrong with her health, but she was a little conscienceless. After returning from vacation, everyone held their first morning meeting at the hotel. Shi Fan noticed that the atmosphere between Yi Shen and Shang Ya was unusual, different from the previous tit for tat. Shi Fan took out a photo and gossiped about the couple. Finally, they had to admit that they were in a relationship. It turned out that they had figured out many things during this period and faced their inner feelings. At this time, Hisuya took the initiative to send a message to Shi Fan, asking about her homework on a medicinal diet today. She said that her father usually cooked and she couldn't submit the homework. Unexpectedly, Hisuya replied that he was looking forward to seeing her, which excited her. That night, Shi Fan came to find him. She found him sitting on a bench, drunk, blaming her for arriving too late and drinking all the wine by himself. He took advantage of his drunkenness to complain that Shi Fan was a scumbag who hooked him up and wanted to let him go and was irresponsible. Shi Fan was helpless when she heard this. She was worried he would catch a cold, so she had to send him home. However, after Hisuya closed the door, his eyes suddenly became apparent and he was not drunk. Shi Fan returned home and was also confused about his words. The next day, Yan Heng suddenly checked into the hotel. The manager called everyone to a meeting and told them to ensure the service was in place and win this high-quality big customer. Shi Fan was shocked and had mixed feelings. When Yan Heng arrived at the hotel, Shang Ya and Yi Shen knew he was coming for Shi Fan. In reality, he chose to stay at the hotel on the pretext of participating in the bidding for the local science and technology park. He asked to meet Shi Fan. Shang Ya said that telling Yan Heng about her whereabouts was impossible and retorted mercilessly. He then bought a large bouquet of roses and stood in the lobby. Cheng Dong saw this and quickly sent a message to Shi Fan urging her to come over. She went to see Yan Heng and had to take the roses. Originally, Yan Heng wanted to invite Shi Fan to sit in the room and talk about their relationship, but she was so angry that she threw the roses at him. After hearing Yan Heng's proposal to get back together, she refused without hesitation and hated his touching her. In the lounge, Shang Ya and Yi Shen comforted Shi Fan and advised her not to agree to get back together. Soon, this matter became known to everyone in the hotel. The female employees in the hotel were still gossiping and thought that Shi Fan was too pretentious and did not know how to cherish a wealthy son-in-law like Yan Heng. The manager criticized Shi Fan's behavior at the meeting for affecting the hotel, deducted her bonus for this month, and told everyone to maintain a professional attitude and take this as a warning. Because of Yan Heng's appearance, Shi Fan became anxious again, fell into insomnia all night, and had nightmares. When she woke up, her face was full of tears. Looking at the message Hisuya sent her, she could only reply to the other party with a forced smile. Yan Heng talked to his father on the phone. He regarded his pursuit of Shi Fan as a strategy to escape his father's control, but he did not consider how much he cherished this relationship. When Shi Fan came to the hotel to work, she saw the roses and cards that Yan Heng gave to her. Without hesitation, she threw them into the trash. She thought Yan Heng would not return, but when she left the hotel, she saw Yan Heng standing outside the door. He used the same trick again and invited her to dinner in public. Worried about the bad influence outside the hotel, Shi Fan had to agree. Sitting in the car, Yan Heng smelled the sachet Hisuya prepared for her, which attracted his attention. He wanted to revisit the past with Shi Fan and took her to a restaurant they used to go to often to eat barbecue rice, hoping to rekindle their old feelings and mention marriage. It was precisely because of his usual selfishness that he annoyed Shi Fan again, so she decisively rejected him and said before leaving that she never liked eating barbecue. On the way back, she was anxious again. She searched her backpack and realized the sachet was left in Yan Heng's car. Shi Fan was troubled by a headache and hurriedly called Hisuya. Yan Heng followed her to the Chinese medicine building, and with the sachet left in the car, he understood. Hisuya felt Shi Fan's pulse and guessed that she must have run into her ex-boyfriend to cause this kind of depression. Just at this time, Yan Heng suddenly came over. He said he came here to pick up his girlfriend, but she was angry. Hisuya disagreed. He told Yan Heng to wait for 15 minutes before the treatment was over. After the treatment, Hisuya tactfully reminded her to go to the bathroom, but he held Yan Heng back. With the help of Hisuya, Shi Fan escaped from the clinic's back door. After Hisuya sent Yan Heng away, he hurried out to hug Shi Fan and comforted her to let go of the past and focus on the present and the future. The next day, the manager talked to Shi Fan and asked her to resolve the relationship with Yan Heng immediately. After all, people's words are scary and significantly impact the hotel. She should not let it affect her future. Yan Heng sent his assistant to give flowers to Shi Fan as usual. She asked the other party to remove them and clarified that she would not accept them again. The signing ceremony held by Yan Heng at the hotel was completed. When Hisuya saw the news, he couldn't help but sigh that the other party was a domineering boss. At this time, Li Jia informed him that the research team application had been issued. Everyone was pleased that such a long persistence finally paid off. Hisuya took a photo of the scenery and sent it to Shi Fan with the text, "The weather was good today." Yan Heng visited Shi Fan's family and brought many gifts. As soon as he entered the door, he apologized to them. He said he was busy establishing himself in the company then and felt that Shi Fan was interfering with his career, so he took the initiative to break up. However, after establishing his foothold, he immediately returned to find Shi Fan, expressed his intention to reconcile, and was willing to send Shi Fan to study abroad. However, her mother did not accept Yan Heng's words. Shi Fan returned home and argued with him. She told the reason for their breakup and his shameless behavior of unilaterally breaking up. Yan Heng angrily confronts her for being selfish and not caring about his feelings. Hisuya suddenly came in from outside, looking like a prospective son-in-law with a packaged medicinal meal, and stood before Shi Fan to accuse Yan Heng. Coupled with the attitude of Shi Fan's parents, Yan Heng had to leave in bitterness. Shi Fan hid in the room, crying alone and thinking about everything that had happened. The pressure and grievances of many days and the guilt towards her parents burst out simultaneously. Hisuya took the initiative to hug and comfort her, telling her it was not her fault. Seeing that Shi Fan's mood had improved, her parents came to the room and said that no matter how old she was still a child, and she should not pretend to be okay just because she was afraid of worrying her parents. Her family would always be her most substantial support. Shi Fan's mood improved with the comfort of her parents and Hisuya. Yan Heng got drunk and smashed things, causing great trouble to the hotel. The next day, Shi Fan came to the hotel office and found Yan Heng left a bottle of perfume and a card, claiming that he had personally asked someone to give her a unique perfume. But until this time, Shi Fan suddenly realized that she didn't like the smell of this perfume at all, and she had already liked Hisuya. She hurriedly ran to Hisuya and asked him to change a new sachet for her. He realized that Shi Fan had something to say to him. Just as he was about to confess again, Shi Fan suddenly expressed her love for him and hoped that he could be her boyfriend. After confirming Shi Fan's attitude, Hisuya took the initiative to kiss her. He had already made a lot of sachets for her, thinking he would have the chance to give them to her in the future. Shi Fan blamed herself for not facing her inner feelings earlier, but Hisuya felt it was not too late. After the two established a romantic relationship, they felt that everything around them was beautiful. They tossed and turned in bed at night, full of joy. Shi Fan and Hisuya were both in high spirits the next day at work. Anyone with a discerning eye could see they were in a good mood. Shi Fan announced the good news of her ending her singlehood to her friends, and Shang Ya and Yi Shen were happy for her from the bottom of their hearts. After getting off work, Hisuya went to the mall to buy other daily necessities and bought a bunch of flowers that Shi Fan liked. The two met outside the community gate and started a simple and sweet romantic love. They walked back hand in hand, and the people around them were envious. Back home, Hisuya cooked in the kitchen while Shi Fan helped arrange the flowers and set the table. She praised the food he cooked as delicious. After the two finished their meal, Hisuya asked Shi Fan to teach him how to fold a frog. As a result, he was good at many things, but he was clumsy at folding paper, which made Shi Fan laugh. He pretended to be angry, which led Shi Fan to coax him. She suddenly realized they were pleased every day together. But then she thought of what Hisuya said about making the worst plan. He said he had considered waiting for Shi Fan to return from studying abroad, even if they were already in a relationship. If she felt pain in this relationship, she should tell him directly that he would try to correct it. Shi Fan was very moved by what Hisuya said. She was glad she saw her heart clearly and confessed her feelings earlier. The two hugged each other tightly. The next day, Yan Heng took the initiative to find Shi Fan and asked why she chose a poor Chinese medicine practitioner. She said she was pleased with Hisuya, which Yan Heng could never do. She also sincerely hoped that he could find happiness. After Yan Heng's bidding for the science park ended, he checked out of the hotel room and left the hotel. Everyone was relieved. Similarly, Shi Fan ultimately ended this past and couldn't help but call Hisuya to say she missed him. Hisuya also responded in a low voice. After hearing this, Li Jia and others immediately left. When Shi Fan got home from work, she found Hisuya waiting for her at the bus stop outside the community for a long time. The two hugged each other tightly as soon as they met. The two couples came to the park on the weekend to enjoy the flowers. Shang Ya asked Hisuya to help take pictures, but the images he took were terrible and were ruthlessly rejected. Because of this, Shang Ya called Yi Shen, and his photography skills were quite popular. Hisuya became the team's coat rack because of his poor photography skills, helping to carry bags and things. Yi Shen felt deeply sympathetic towards Hisuya, forming a deep comradeship. Hisuya and Shi Fan took photos in the forest of flowers, and they kissed each other deeply. As a result, this scene was photographed by Yi Shen and sent to the two. Shi Fan showed the photos and videos to her parents. They were delighted. Hisuya set the images as screensavers. Li Jia and others felt that Shi Fan was a miracle. After finishing the midnight snack, the two returned home. Shi Fan asked him to wash her hands first, then took out a small box mysteriously containing the ring she had bought herself. She said she should be responsible for him since she had already hooked Hisuya. The iron key ring in the past did not count at all. This time, a real ring was used. Hisuya initially thought that Shi Fan would put it on his ring finger to propose to him, but when she put it on his middle finger, he pretended to be sulk. Shi Fan saw this and kissed him, saying it was too early to put a ring on his finger. In the blink of an eye, it was the Qingming festival. Hisuya would accompany his grandpa to visit his mother's grave. His father could not come back due to work, which disappointed him. At this time, Shi Fan hurriedly knocked on Hisuya's door, holding a bunch of tulips, and instantly hugged her. Then he and her grandpa went to the tomb, revealing that he had a girlfriend and that there was new progress in his research. To thank Shi Fan, Grandpa asked Hisuya to invite Shi Fan to go to the herb garden with her family. She readily agreed and told her parents about it when she got home. Shi Fan took his parents to the herbal garden for an outing the next day. The couple finally met Mr. Yu and found they had seen him in the community before. He was the older man who liked to watch them play chess. They went out to the herbal garden and had a good chat. During the meal, everyone was toasting. Shi Fan found that Hisuya's alcohol tolerance was still quite good and recalled the last time he pretended to be drunk downstairs in the community. And she couldn't help but understand something. His active attempt to hook Shi Fan was finally exposed. After Hisuya returned home, he realized that he was utterly exposed. He tried to pretend to be drunk and pitiful to deceive Shi Fan. She half angrily and half forcingly wanted to take off Hisuya's ring. Step by step, she made him admit that he was the one who took the initiative to pursue her. Shi Fan pretended to be arrogant and forgave him. The next day, the dean called Hisuya. He asked to bring the project to the medical association and asked him to hurry up and prepare the report. Because Hisuya was busy with her report, he couldn't date Shi Fan today. She and her colleagues had a great time chatting in the bar and were quite emotional about their work. Although Shi Fan and Shang Ya were ready to resign, Yi Shen hadn't decided yet, so he could only work for now. After Hisuya finished the report, he saw that it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. So he took the initiative to send a message to Shi Fan but received no response. He contacted Yi Shen and was surprised to learn that Shi Fan had already gone home, as he thought she would drink until late. When Hisuya returned home, he saw Shi Fan sitting on the sofa and drawing a portrait of him with a piece of tea in front of his face. Hisuya was curious about what she meant. Shi Fan didn't say it. The two of them were laughing and joking in a good atmosphere. Unexpectedly, Li Jia opened the door and came in. Kashim was having dinner with other senior brothers and thought the other party had a date, so he got drunk and sought comfort. Seeing this, Shi Fan had to leave first, and Hisuya held back her temper to take care of him. The following day, he told Li Jia in a bad mood that the door lock code had been changed at home and that he should not come to the house casually. Compared with suspicion, he needs to collect more evidence to find out the truth. On weekends, Shi Fan took the initiative to find Hisuya. The two stayed home, one writing a paper and the other learning Swiss, enjoying a sweet time together. Hisuya asked Shi-fan not to leave tonight. She was curious about what he was busy with during this period. Hisuya deliberately concealed it. Hisuya's research was successfully selected for the summit. He shared the good news with Shi-fan and intended to make up for the date and sweetness he had missed during this busy period. Shi-fan was very happy and took Hisuya's arm to go shopping and eat delicious food. She was pleased that his topic was selected and felt she had found a particularly excellent boyfriend. Soon, it was the opening day of the Chinese Medical Summit. On the way, Hisuya thought of his father, who would also attend the meeting as a representative of cardiac surgery experts. The hotel was preparing intensively to ensure that there would be no mistakes at the summit. Grandpa and Hisuya saw Shi-fan when they arrived at the hotel. While receiving guests, she met Mr. He and took him to the check-in area. Grandpa personally went on stage to speak. Mr. He sent a message to his son, asking him what he planned for lunch. Hisuya said that his grandpa had made an appointment with several Chinese medicine experts for lunch. Hisuya accompanied his grandpa and the Chinese medicine experts for lunch. Mr. He ate medicinal food alone in the hotel. Suddenly, he saw Shi-fan and his son behaving intimately, and he had a vague guess in his heart. Shi-fan returned to work as usual and unexpectedly discovered that Mr. He was Hisuya's father. Hisuya couldn't wait to find Shi-fan during lunch break, but was stopped when he wanted to kiss her. She reminded him to keep a safe distance of 10 meters. Mr. He was very concerned about his son's emotional problems because he was busy with work all day long. But when he learned he was in love with Shi-fan, he was relieved. That night, Shi-fan took the initiative to ask about the relationship between Hisuya and Hisheng. He told how his father neglected his family and his wife and children, which led to his mother's early death from cancer. Hearing what he said, Shi-fan felt terrible and asked him to prepare the suit he would wear tomorrow. Hisuya's topic on Chinese medicine and postoperative care for chemotherapy was successful and attracted attention at home and abroad. Hisheng burst into tears after listening to it. His son worked hard in his field and made significant contributions, just as Shi-fan said. Because the father and son gap was too deep, many things needed to be clarified. Shi-fan deliberately created an opportunity for them to be alone. She invited them to have dinner together at the hotel and specially prepared Chinese herbal tea and medicinal food designed by Hisuya. At the dinner, Mr. He asked Hisuya and Shi-fan if they had any idea of getting married. They didn't know how to respond. Grandpa immediately spoke to ease the awkward atmosphere. After dinner, the father and son talked outside. He rarely supported his son's work and said he would find some papers on combining cardiac surgery and traditional Chinese medicine when he returned. If Hisuya was interested, they could study and discuss together. Hisuya and Shi-fan walked back hand in hand. Suddenly, he stopped, took out the bracelet left by his mother, and put it on Shi-fan. Hisuya told her he loved her so much, which moved her. The two hugged each other tightly. Her parents saw the bracelet on Shi-fan's wrist. They were full of joy. Shang Ya was ready to resign from the hotel. So she and Yi Shen invited Shi-fan and Hisuya to get together, and by the way asked Hisuya if it was feasible to open a herbal medicine health restaurant. She wanted to open this health club, so she had to seek Hisuya's herbal medicine supply, and he readily agreed. When paying the bill, Yi Shen asked Hisuya what he thought of Shi-fan's resignation to study abroad. Hisuya decided to support her fully. Shi-fan's 7-year career in the hotel was about to end, but she was lucky to see Hisuya shining on the work. In the end, she saw Hisuya and his father have reconciled. At least this was very happy and perfect. After showering, Hisuya took the initiative to help Shi-fan blow dry her hair. He slowly made her feel a little excited. The two of them couldn't help themselves and spent the whole night in a passionate relationship. When they woke up the next day, Hisuya appeared in the medical school wearing the clothes that Shi-fan had matched for her, which attracted the amazed attention of many female students. Li Jia took a few photos of Hisuya for Shi-fan. Seeing this, Hisuya immediately sat up straight to make herself look more upright and handsome. After the defense meeting, Kashin formally said goodbye to Hisuya. Li Jia plucked up the courage to chase after her and took the initiative to confess to Kashin. Before Kashin refused, Li Jia still pretended to be calm and mature and said they were always good friends. And then he left. Hisuya patted Li Jia on the shoulder and said that the best way to solve the emotional injury was to work, and he would assign more tasks to Li Jia. because Hisuya's outstanding performance in leading several regular training students. The principal invited him to teach in the school from the next semester and then to intern in the hospital. He readily agreed. Soon, Shi-fan submitted her resignation to the hotel. If everything goes as expected, she can leave the hotel next month. Hisuya received her message and waited for her at the bus stop, where she got off work. The two walked back hand in hand. Shi-fan began to prepare for studying abroad. When sorting out the visa documents, she suddenly found a bank card for studying abroad in her mother's drawer and was deeply moved. On the other hand, her mother was not in a good mood after the physical examination. The results of the breast examination were not satisfactory, but she still concealed it and hid the examination sheet in the kitchen. Later, her mother went to the hospital to find Hisuya without telling her family. He looked at the examination report, comforted her not to worry, and said it would be better to do a further examination. The examination results showed that Shi-fan's mother did have a breast tumor, and a biopsy or pathology was needed to confirm whether it was benign or malignant. He suggested Shi-fan's mother do a quick pathology and resection to avoid secondary damage. She hoped that Hisuya would keep it a secret from Shi-fan before the pathology results came out, not to let her daughter worry. When her husband learned she had a tumor, his eyes instantly turned red, and it was difficult for him to accept such sudden bad news. To hide it from his daughter, he lied the mother's unit was going to the next city for training, and he adjusted 2 days of classes to accompany her. Shi-fan didn't know anything and wished his parents a happy trip. The following day, Hisuya found Director Joe, who was in charge of the operation, and arranged for Shi-fan's mother to prepare for the resection operation. Her parents expressed gratitude to Hisuya, hoping he could accompany Shi-fan well in the next 2 days. On the day of the operation, her father waited anxiously outside the operating room while Hisuya sat on a bench in the corridor. Recalling the scene when he was waiting for his mother's operation, Shi-fan was unhappy because her parents had not replied to her messages. Hisuya found a reason to dispel her suspicion. He told Lee Jia about the situation, but Lee Jia felt that Shi-fan was a party to the case and should have the right to know rather than be kept in the dark. Suya was struggling with whether to tell her. Shi-fan resigned from the hotel, said goodbye to her colleagues, and completed the visa application. Because the visa center is close to the hospital, Shi-fan went to the hospital to find Hisuya and wanted to pick him up after getting off work. Surprisingly, she ran into Hisuya and her mother, who was about to be discharged from the hospital, in the lobby. She had a vague answer in her heart. She did not take the initiative to go forward but sent a message to Hisuya to meet in the garden. He knew she could no longer hide it, so he decided to confess the truth to Shi-fan. She faced the fear of losing her loved ones for the first time and cried and blamed Hisuya for hiding it from her. Although Hisuya took the initiative to apologize to Shi-fan and comforted her to have confidence in her mother's condition, Shi-fan couldn't listen and left without looking back. Hisuya returned to the lounge, regretting and blaming herself. After getting off work, he called Shi-fan, but she didn't respond. With the help of Shang Ya, he found Shi-fan. Regarding her mother, Hisuya told Shi-fan that he fully respected her mother's wishes and did not explain them to Shi-fan in person. Shi-fan calmed down and realized that this matter could not be blamed entirely on Hisuya. The two hugged and reconciled. At night, Hisuya personally sent Shi-fan home. She told her the truth and took the initiative to comfort her mother, asking her to rest assured of treatment. Looking at the drainage bag next to her mother, she felt hurt. She suppressed his sadness and supervised the mother to drink the medicine. After a period of recuperation, her condition improved a lot. Mr. Yu taught them the medicine health-preserving movements, and Shi-fan's parents studied seriously. Shi-fan was hesitant about going abroad because of her mother's illness, so she lied and said she had just applied for a visa. Her family suggested that she learn to cook first so that she would not be unable to accept foreign eating habits after going abroad. Not long after, Shi-fan's mother's re-examination results came out. In Hisuya's opinion, she had an early-stage tumor, and according to molecular typing, the prognosis was good. There was no need to worry at all. He arranged a treatment plan for her, and the cure rate could reach 95%. After listening to Hisuya's words, her parents were relieved, but Shi-fan still had concerns. The next day, she received the passport from the visa center, which should have been a good thing. But at this moment, she had no joy. After getting off work, Hisuya helped Shi-fan clean up the kitchen. found the torn delivery slip in the trash can, and instantly understood everything. Shifan hesitated for a long time and then confessed to Hisuya that she did not want to study abroad and decided to stay in the country for her mother's health. Hisuya knew that she had always wanted to go out and see the world. He persuaded her to persevere and not give up the dream she had worked so hard to achieve. He would be her strongest supporter and help her care for her family. Her mother learned that she had obtained a visa but wanted to give up her plan to study abroad, so she came to counsel her daughter. Her mother hoped to see Shifan pursue her dream. While packing her luggage, she told Hisuya that she would stay home tonight to accompany her parents and would not let him take her to the airport. Hisuya was reluctant, but she still cheered up to help her pack. Shifan found a small notebook in her bag where he recorded her medicinal food and Chinese medicine. She moved deeply, ran to Hisuya's house, and hugged him tightly. He comforted her gently. The following day, Shifan came to the airport accompanied by her parents. Shifan looked up and saw Hisuya in the crowd. She couldn't help but burst into tears. Hisuya sent her a message, encouraging her to go out and see the world. In the following days, Hisuya continued to work as usual, but whenever he looked at the photos on his phone, he would miss Shifan uncontrollably. In addition, he expressed his longing for her through letters, and each letter was filled with his feelings. 2 months later, Shifan finally returned to the country. As soon as she left the airport, she saw Hisuya, who was coming to pick him up. The two hugged each other tightly and kissed passionately in the car. Hisuya personally sent Shifan home, because he was busy with work and couldn't accompany her for dinner. Shifan learned that Hisuya helped her care for her family, and she felt sweet and touched. She dressed up, came to the hospital, and took advantage of the lunch break to spend time alone with him. They went to Shang Ya's tea shop and found that the business was in full swing, and her relationship with Yi Shen was also stable. After returning to the country, Shifan planned to cooperate with Shang Ya to open a tea shop. Hisuya thought it was worth a try. Time quickly went from late autumn to early winter, and the first heavy snow fell. Shifan and Hisuya looked at the snow outside the window and recalled a lot. Every bit of their lives was integrated into this beautiful scenery. Shifan took the initiative to propose marriage, which surprised Hisuya a little. But he quickly responded to her thoughtfully and cut a section of honeysuckle from a pot of blooming honeysuckle, made a ring, and put it on her ring finger. In the spring of the following year, they held a wedding in the community. His father was sincerely happy to see his son find happiness. At this moment, the father and son put aside their past grudges. At the beginning of the wedding, Shaosong, as the host, made a humorous opening speech, which caused everyone to laugh. At his request, Hisuya turned her back to Shifan and sincerely confessed her love. Shifan walked towards him step by step. Hisuya stared at her and solemnly said, "Falling in love with you is my luckiest thing." Shifan also said the same thing. At this moment, the two exchanged wedding rings and kissed in front of everyone. Shifan threw a bouquet into the crowd. Shang Ya was lucky enough to catch it. Seeing this, everyone asked the two to kiss each other before the wedding was over. At the end of the wedding, Hisuya and Shifan danced on the grass. They were a talented couple and received blessings from everyone present. On the other side, Li Jia saw Kashin at a glance and smiled at each other. As the atmosphere peaked, the wedding guests gathered around the newlyweds, dancing with radiant smiles that shone like stars in the night. In that moment of joy, love felt eternal. I genuinely hope those with beautiful hearts will find a love that lasts, even in the quiet spaces of life. And if you haven't seen it yet, or if the courage to search has faded, start by loving yourself first, more deeply than anyone else. One day, when you least expect it, someone will step into the light of that space meant just for you.